calm down, folks. Just calm down. It's been a long time coming, but finally, the Best Boys Center Ice podcast is ready to do the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals preview between the Edmonton Oilers and the defending Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. 12th time in league history that there will be a rematch of the previous year's Stanley Cup final. The team that has won the previous year has won 7 of those 12. It took a while to get here, Carr, but we are finally here through a lot of great hockey over the playoffs, a lot of great hockey during the regular season. A lot of great things happened to lead us to just 2 teams left to fight for the most prestigious trophy in history. Before we get started, let's get out of the way with our thank yous. Carson does a great job, of course, with the graphics, the intro. He's done a great job doing that. We'd like to thank Shemaya Reed and the Refocused Radio Network, because that's where you can get all of our nightly wrap-up shows that we've done throughout the playoffs. Also, all of our podcasts from this past season as well. You can get that on the Refocused Radio Network, along with Rudy Campos Jr., and Sweep the League, and also Shemaya Reed's I Am Refocused Radio. And it's got some, just the Refocused Radio Network is just exploding. There's going to be a lot of great stuff coming up in the next 3 to 6 months. We're going to be a part of it. Once the finals are over, we'll take a bit of a break, but we'll come on with special shows when it comes to maybe, like draft. Maybe we'll do a preview of free agency when that comes around. But right now, Carson, we are looking at the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals. Florida Panthers, the Eastern Conference champions, as you can see. So let's start with previewing the defending Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers.
Yep. Well, this is going to be a great series. First off, first time since 2008 and 2009 that we've seen the same matchup twice in a row, and that was,
who was that?
It's very funny, huh?
And who was that?
Pittsburgh and Detroit. Detroit beat Pittsburgh in 08. Pittsburgh beat Detroit in 09. But first off, we've talked about it. Very funny that our teams have kind of the same storyline like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's McDavid has a chance to follow Gretzky and Crosby's footsteps in losing the first cup final he played in to win the next year against the same team, which is very funny how that works like that.
Yes.
Sports is something else. It's just some kind of story written, but this isn't going to be an easy series for either team. We'll start with the Florida Panthers because we'll do this. We have about 20 minutes to do this show before I have to wrap up and head to Bowling for the night. But the Florida Panthers, Eastern Conference champions, first bullet point, and it's hard to see a little bit, but I wanted to get the logos in the background. I feel like it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the road to the finals for the Florida Panthers, they had a very interesting road to the finals, to say the least. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1, 4-1 in the series when everybody was picking Tampa Bay to beat them. Then they defeated Toronto 4-3 in 7 games, second round, and finally last round in the conference finals, defeat the Hurricanes 4-1 to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals for the 3rd straight season. Some of their underlying stats here. The Panthers are 23.6% on the power play in the playoffs, which I didn't put which number they were. I believe they were ranked top 3 or 4 in the power play.
Of the
playoff
teams, of the 16 teams, I think they were definitely top 4. I think.
Yeah. And then you go to the PK, which is really important here. 87.9% on the penalty kill, best in the playoffs out of all the teams. Very important this time of the year. They're able to kill penalties because you're going to take them, and it's best when you're able to kill them. Now we go to the goaltending. Sergei Bobrovsky, starting goalie. He's going to play every game in this series. 2.11 goals against average, second best in the playoffs, and a .912 save percentage, third best in the playoffs. He has been money. He's won the Stanley Cup. He knows what it takes at this point. He's played really well, and he has definitely helped his team get to where they are. As far as individual accolades, top point scorer for that team in Florida is Alexander Barkov, 17 points in this playoff so far, which really isn't, to me, it's good, but like nothing outstanding. But it just shows you how good of a team Florida has, that they're able just to spread the wealth of offense around. Top goal scorer for the team is Sam Bennett, 10 goals this postseason. And then plus minus may not seem like that big of a deal, but that means when you're on the ice, good stuff's happening. Anton Lundell plus 12 for that department. And then I put this down. This is just me personally, but I feel like you'd probably agree. I put a few players to watch from each team. From the Panthers, I got Barkov, and then next to their names, I also have their numbers, just in case you're not familiar with these guys, which numbers they wear. Barkov's number 16, the captain of the Panthers. Brad Marchand, the newest addition to the Florida Panthers, number 63, a proven winner. He's won the Stanley Cup. He knows what it takes. He's a hard player to play against, and it's going to be interesting to see how he affects this series. Sam Reinhart, the former 50-goal scorer, number 13. I anticipate him to have a great series. And finally, you can't not put Bobrovsky here. I mean, he's been clutch. He's helped the Panthers so well. Even though he's going to be in the net, number 72. That's a guy to keep an eye on. And that's the preview for the Panthers. Now we can go to the other side of the NHL, the other conference, and look at some of the Oilers, and then go about looking at this matchup as a whole. Next up, we go to the Western Conference champion, and I don't know why the image is so blurry, but we'll take it. The Edmonton Oilers, Western Conference champions for the second straight season. Road to the finals. As you can see, they defeat the LA Kings 4-2 in round one, Vegas Golden Knights 4-1 in round two, and finally the Dallas Stars 4-1 in the conference finals. Stats for the Oilers: 30% on the power play in the playoffs, fourth best out of all the teams that played. Their penalty kill has been a concern for sure. They're the third worst team in the playoffs at a 66% rate. Stu Skinner, who looks like he's most likely going to continue to play and start for right now, has posting a 2.53 goals against average, fifth best of all the goalies in the playoffs, and a 0.904 save percentage, eighth best of the playoffs out of all the goaltenders that have played. Points leader, surprise, surprise, Connor McDavid, having another Conn Smythe caliber postseason, 26 points so far. Goals leader is Leon Draisaitl with 7. Best plus minus on the team. Pretty surprised when I looked at this one, but also very cool. Jake Wallman, plus 12. And then finally, players to watch. Again, kind of repetitive, but Connor McDavid, number 97, the captain. His partner in crime, Leon Draisaitl, number 29. I put Corey Perry, number 90, because he's looking to get back in the winner's circle after losing his last 4 Cup final appearances. And finally, another guy who's kind of flown under the radar with how well he's done offensively is Evan Bouchard, number 2. The only defenseman to crack this list from either team, but I think he's going to be a factor. He's definitely improved his play from the lackluster preseason or regular season he's had, but this is your 2025 Stanley Cup final. Florida, Edmonton. The floor is yours to go first because your team's in here. I've done a lot of talking, but give your thoughts on this series between these teams.
Well, if last year was it was the case of the Florida Panthers just getting out,
being a good team,
and getting out to that incredible start, going up 3-0, and then the Oilers having to play from behind and almost make history and make it to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and only losing in that game 2-1. It's kind of funny because our boy Janmark was the last Oiler to score in the Stanley Cup Finals last year. I look at this as the Oilers are definitely the one thing that did change is the Oilers have home ice because of their better record in the regular season over Florida. Even though Florida won both games between the two clubs, the Oilers had a better overall record than Florida, so they get home ice. So to me, I've never been a big 100% believer in home ice, but it does help, especially in areas where you get the last change, you get that crowd behind you. And if you've watched any of the Oiler games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you've seen how crazy that crowd gets, how loud that building gets, how just enthusiastic that building gets. The Oilers ride with the energy of that building and the fans in that building. Now, the Florida Panthers are by far the best team in the Eastern Conference. I know they didn't win the President's Trophy, and I know that they didn't win their division, but by far, when it comes down to when you get into April, May, and June, they are the team to beat in the East. And I think Florida is going to be that team for quite some time. It's going to take an awful big push from somebody in the East to beat the Florida Panthers. Now, as far as the Oilers are concerned, they're coming in with redemption on their mind, and there's nothing like having that bitter taste of that Game 7 defeat when you came so close. You won 3 games in a row. You almost made history. You only lost that game 2-1. So this is going to be a very, very, very intense matchup. You're going to see, and it's so funny because you saw from, I think it was game 1 of the Dallas series, Western Conference Final, when Dallas totally just ran away with the game in the third period. The look that McDavid and Draisaitl gave each other on the bench was one of, we're not going to lose. We're getting to the Stanley Cup final. And from that point on, of course, the Oilers did reverse sweep Dallas. But if those two guys have that look in their eye, there's no tandem in the NHL since Lemieux and Yager, since Gretzky and Curry, since Crosby and Malkin, that can just totally take that team on their backs and just go. Now, the good thing about the Oilers team this year is the depth scoring. We've talked about it all playoffs.
Yeah.
The depth scoring has been
both teams, which is crazy.
This isn't just going to be about the top guys, the superstars. Who is going to have the best depth players,
supporting cast,
getting scoring? And then, as we always say, it comes down to goaltending. Will Stuart Skinner be able to be as good, or can he be just a little bit better than Bob? I don't know. Bob is one of the best, especially when he comes to playing at this time of the year.
Yeah.
I still believe in that Stu Skinner has got a lot of momentum coming from the Western Conference Final.
He played really well.
He played really well.
Other than game 1.
That first game 1 tomorrow night, if he lets in a couple of softies and he doesn't bounce back, if he bounces back, I won't have a problem. If he lets in a couple of softies and doesn't bounce back, Calvin Pickard better be ready to go and be back in. Because remember, Calvin Pickard went 6-0 before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So he's won half of the Oilers' playoff games. I still think once it's all said and done, once the finals are all said and done, the Oilers do need to have that elite goaltender. But it'll all depend, too, on if the defense plays as well as they did in the Dallas series and just completely shut down Florida. It ain't going to be easy either way. No. Florida has to shut down that Edmonton offense. That's just go, speed. You know, there's been many teams that have tried many different ways to slow down McDavid. Sometimes some teams do it, but can you sustain that for a 7-game series? And then you get the second half of the two-headed dragon, Leon Draisaitl, who's, I think, MVP season. He is playing better than I've seen him play in the last few years. So you got the two-headed dragon, even though Zach Hyman's going to be out, and that's going to hurt the Oilers. Zach Hyman being out with the hand injury is going to hurt, but Evander Kane, I think, is going to be where you had the X factors on the bottom. Along with Corey Perry, I'm going to put Evander Kane in there as well. And then a guy that I think is like that close to making a break is Podkolzny. I think he's that close. He's all around the net. He's all around the puck. I think he's that close to making an impact on this series. I'm going to put my prediction out there. Then you can come and do the matchup. I still think the Edmonton Oilers are going to win this. It's going to go it's going to be another 7-game series. It's going to be another 7-game series. It's going to be a classic. It's going to be one that's going to go down in the history books as one of the best finals. In last year's finals was
Yeah.
great event once we got rolling. Excuse me. But I'm saying the Oilers in 7. We'll see
Mhm.
what happens in that first period tomorrow night.
Well, you said it pretty well there. I mean, this is going to be a storybook final. It's going to be close the whole way. Um, it's just there's so many different things. Can the Panthers repeat and the dreams of the Oilers again, or will the Oilers uh, get to the top of the mountain and defeat the team that just beat them last year? It's going to be close. I think you're right that can the Panthers shut McDavid down? Because when he's going, it's hard to beat him. But can the Oilers like be combative towards the depth that the Panthers have? Because lines 1 through 4, pairs 1 through 3 seem to be finding the net,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard. And I mean, Bob's been playing well. That it's hard to get pucks past him. How are they going to be able to do that? And how is Stu going to hold up in the net? Because this is a whole different animal now. They're going to get a Florida team that's probably the best team they've had to play so far, no doubt. And it's going to be an interesting series. Um, Obviously, the difference this year, Edmonton having home ice, to be honest, so it doesn't matter for Florida. They've won their last 3 road games, so who it doesn't matter to them. But the Oilers definitely has the advantage that you're going to play at home more than you're not going to. Um, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tight. It's going to be neck and neck. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple overtime games this series. Uh, I would like to see McDavid get his cup and Draisaitl to get his cup and that story, but I just have a hard time thinking the Panthers get denied winning again because of how good they look. They lost so many guys in the offseason and they replaced them and filled the holes in the lineup, no problem. And now, in my opinion, they look better. They look better than they were last year, which is crazy to say, but they look better. They beat Tampa Bay like they were nothing in round 1. They had to play a tough Toronto team in round 2, and when they had their backs against the wall, they beat them, and they rolled through Carolina no problem last round. It's going to be tough, but I see it going both ways this series. But yeah, the goaltending is going to be the big thing. And can the Oilers get better on the PK? Because we know Florida can score
Mm-hmm.
on the power play, but can the Oilers, when they take penalties, kill them? Because if they don't, that's going to hurt them really bad. Because Florida's been able to kill their penalties, and they've had to play some good power plays. I mean, Toronto's a great power play unit when you got them out there. You know,
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, another great power play unit when they're out there, and they shut them down. And I think that's going to be the difference for them is can they continue to do so. Um, so I'm really excited. This is going to be the best Cup final I think in a long time. I think this is going to be one of the best ones we've watched in a long time. I think the only one that can really compare besides last year's, of course, is St. Louis and Boston in 19. I mean, with how it went to 7 games, the Blues were last place and they came all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm going to say the Pittsburgh finals were great, even though entertainment, they were okay, but not as good as that. They were just that happened. I was happy because they won. But this is going to be storybook. This is going to have sports fans around the world watching. I'm excited to see it. I guess it's time for me to give my final prediction.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Been
And
waiting.
my final prediction, what'd you say?
I've been waiting.
My final prediction of this year's Stanley Cup Finals. I'm riding with the stash, and I'm going with the Oilers.
All
The
right.
Oilers are winning the Stanley Cup. I'm going to
Nice.
ride it with Stu. I've got to have another. I've got
You
to
gotta
match
have a
him up.
stew stash.
But I've got the Oilers taking it. You know what? McDavid deserves it. Nugent Hopkins deserves it. Draisaitl deserves it. Perry, even though he's won it, deserves it after losing 4 times. Knobloch deserves the cup as a coach. The Oilers will not get denied again. There's no way they're going to get denied again. So I'm riding with the Oilers, and I agree. I think it's a 7-gamer again. This
Yeah.
is going to be a close series, but storybook that they could win in Rogers Place at home in front of the fans and relinquish all those years of frustrations, even though they won after this. The Gretzky trade, the infamous trade in 19, was it 88 that he got traded
88.
away?
88. Yeah.
And winning the cup and then being no offense to you, Dad, but just not a good team for a long
Well,
while.
they weren't. I admit it. They were
They
a
were
terrible
they were
team
an
for
awful
one time.
team. They collected so many picks. Some of them didn't work out, like Yakupov, and he worked out with Taylor Hall, but he got traded. The moves they've had to make, the heartbreak, the questions in goal. but they've overcome the odds and they've played really well. They've beaten really good teams, and I just don't see them getting denied. So I'm rolling with the Oilers in 7. But this is going to be cinema hockey. It's going to be
Mhm.
back and forth the entire way. Either way this series goes, the team that wins deserves it, no matter which way. I mean, if Florida wins back-to-back champs, and they could be on their way to being the next dynasty, and the Oilers, I think winning lock McDavid up no problem
Yeah.
and continue to be a team that people want to play for and go to. It's just going to be all. I think this series, unlike other ones, I think in the past, it's going to be up to the depth. I think
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
depth guys are going to be better, but I agree. Podkolzin is about to break through. Perry's going to be up there. I feel like Casper Kapanen's just going to have a
Mhm.
great series too. But at the same time, in Florida, even though might not be a depth guy, Marchand,
Yeah.
Lundell, Evan Rodriguez, even some of their defense like Forsling, who we know can put the puck in the net, it's going to be great. But yep, we're on the same page. Oilers in 7. We need to see the cup back in Canada again. We got to
Yeah.
have it.
That's 32 years since the Canadians won it in
93.
1993.
There we go.
And for the Oilers, it's been even longer. It's been since 1990.
35 years.
It's going to, yeah, Carson's right. This is going to be just a fantastic series. If you haven't really been following the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, take some time out. Take some time out over the next couple of weeks and watch two of the best teams in hockey go at it. It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
You're not
You're
going
not
to be
going to.
bored by it. You're going to be wanting the next game. You're going to be wanting the next game. They do have, because of the travel, they'll play game 1 tomorrow, game 2 on Friday in Edmonton, and then they take an extra day off and play game 3 on Monday in Florida. Game 4 will
Thursday.
be, is it Thursday?
I think so.
And then, so that's again, we talked about it last year, that long
It's
200.
like it'll be really like a 2.5 week thing if it goes all the way.
Yeah. So enjoy it. I know Carson and I are going to enjoy it, and we will be here tomorrow night,
Yep.
right after, shortly, well, probably within a half hour of the game ending.
Ready. I'm ready.
It's a 7:00 p.m. start here in Central Time Zone, where
Yep.
we are in San Antonio, Texas, and we're ready, Matt. I tell you what, I even convinced my girlfriend to get a 65-inch TV.
She made the wrong decision. She didn't need to do
No,
that.
no,
she
she
should have
made
gotten
the
you a
right
20-inch.
She made the right decision. She loves it too. She's getting into it. She's had to with Carson and I doing all the
The shows.
podcasting. So I'm ready. Carson's ready.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the Stanley Cup final?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, and it all starts tomorrow night from Rogers Place in downtown Edmonton, Alberta. The 2005 Stanley
25.
Cup. What did I say?
2005. 2025.
Who won it in 2005?
Lockout.
Lockout here. 2025 Stanley Cup final. All right. Again, you can catch this on the Refocused Radio Network. Also catch Rudy Campos Jr. and Sweep the League and Shemai Reed's I Am Refocused Radio. Thanks, Carson, for all the great graphics, all the great work. We will see you tomorrow night. We'll talk about the game 1. And everybody, in the meantime and in between time, have a great hockey night.